Hello, students. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir,
Okay, so you have a mid-semester exam this week on Wednesday, 24th, starting 11 o'clock. Yeah. The duration will be 2 hours. It will be from 11 o'clock
Sir,
to.
voice is not audible.
Okay. Okay. Is it okay now?
yes, sir. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I was saying you have a mid-semester exam this week on Wednesday, 24th March. Okay, and it will start at 11 o'clock sharp, from 11 to 1 p.m. Okay, 2 hours. Okay, so today I'm here to clear all your doubts. So regarding all the lectures, your textbook, any problem you are facing, we can discuss here.
Sir, in question 5.3, in the
Okay,
B part, it is mentioned that boundary flux matrix is 0. Sir, what does that mean?
okay. Just let me see. Okay, so 5.3 you are saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 5.3, what is your question?
Sir, it's given that boundary flux matrix is 0. Sir, what does that mean?
Okay, so consider a heat conduction problem shown in figure 5.18. The dimensions are in meters. The bar has a constant unit cross section, constant thermal conductivity, and a linear heat source S, right? So everything constant. Yeah, and heat source is linear as given here. Okay, the boundary conditions are Tx equal to 1 is 100 and Tx equal to 4 is 0 degrees Celsius. Divide the bar into two elements as shown. Okay, B, construct the element source matrices and assemble them to obtain the global source matrix. Knows that flux matrix is 0. So first of all, what is boundary here? Do you know what the boundary is?
The extreme nodes 1 and 4.
Yeah, okay. So is anything given there?
The temperatures only.
The temperatures only. Okay. So, and then what it is saying, there is no boundary given there. Sorry, there is note that the boundary flux matrix is 0. So boundary flux matrix, basically here the when you have temperature assigned, right? Okay, when you have, you know, the temperature, then in that case the like the flux will automatically be determined, you know. So there is no applied flux. So this may mean that the boundary flux matrix is 0, means there is no applied flux basically. So whatever the reaction is, that is the one. Yeah. In any case, it's not going to change anything. I think it is just written for clarity. But you know that in this problem, when, so just a minute. So this is just extra information. Basically, you don't have to actually even use that information. This is by default. You know already that if it is if the temperature is given, that really means the flux is not given, and hence you have to find out the reaction flux. The flux will be there for sure. Yeah, so it's not that it will not be there. So just hold on. Yeah, okay. So, okay, so the question here is about 5.3. And here there is a problem like this one. And it is given that this is x equal to 1, this is x equal to 4. And S is given to be 50/3 x plus 2, like this one. Yeah. And this is hint conduction problem. So T at x equal to 1 is equal to 100 degrees Celsius, and T x equal to 4 is equal to 0 degrees Celsius. So what you see here and here, there is no force given, and of course not given because you are giving the temperature, hence force is not given, right? That's what you are telling. Yeah. So here basically when you say element source matrix, here meaning that body force, basically it's talking about the body force. So A, it is asking the state the strong form representing the heat flow and solve it analytically, find the temperature and flux distribution. So you understand that. Secondly, construct the element source matrix and assemble them to obtain the global source matrix. It is a source matrix. Source matrix means source matrix. Source matrix is basically, this is the S for source. So heat source, this is source. Heat source. Yeah. So it is like body force. So like in case of a structure, it will be a body force. In case of heat conduction problem, this is a source matrix or body force matrix or body force vector. Yeah. So there is note that the boundary flux matrix is 0. So boundary flux matrix is 0 because this will be 0 because force is not given. That's why. Yeah, you have reaction forces, but yeah.
Sir, so do we have to consider reactions as 0?
No, you cannot. It's not possible. That temperature is given, so reaction has to be there. Reaction will not be 0.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in case of structure, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in case of stress analysis, or in case of when a body is subjected to a force, so I'm talking about concentrated force. Let us say at x equal to 1, some force is there in this diagram. So at x equal to 1, some force is concentrated force is there, and x equal to 4, there is no concentrated force. So we take it 0 if it is not there.
If it's not there, you give equal to 0. Yes.
Right. But
Just hold on, man. So, okay. So let's see. Okay. So basically, one thing here is basically your this goes like this. So what you are given here is here and here. What are you given? You are given a temperature, right? So you are given a temperature, right? At both the places. So you are given T1 and T x equal to 1, and also given temperature at x equal to 4. Temperature at x equal to 4. Okay. The thing is that since the temperature is already prescribed here, and that means we cannot prescribe what is the flux here. You cannot do it. So that means temperature will be maintained only when you have there will be some flux automatically, which we call it reaction forces. So reaction force cannot make it 0. Reaction flux at x equal to 1 and x equal to 4 cannot be 0. Otherwise, you cannot maintain it. If you did not have a temperature prescribed here and here, then only you can enforce that there is no flux here and flux here. Means either you can give displacement or force, not both. So hence I just elaborated on why reaction flux cannot be 0. You got it?
Yeah, it is clear, sir. Sir, could you please explain the sign convention related to heat flux?
Okay, so now second question was who asked the second question?
Sir, related to sign convention.
No, the previous question who asked? You asked?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, I did.
Yeah, so what was the question? Say again. Did I answer your question or
yes, sir.
Maybe you asked some different question. Can you repeat your question?
Sir, I asked that what means the boundary flux matrix is 0. So what does it mean? So it just means that means we don't have to consider any extra flux.
Right. You don't have to consider any extra flux. So that really means that statement has nothing to do. You just ignore that statement. So just solve the problem. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So what was the next question?
Sir, could you please explain sign convention related to the heat flux?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sign convention. So the heat flux sign convention. Okay. See here Q, you write as Q minus K dt over dx. This is the heat flux. Yeah. And meaning what? It really means that it is something like this. If you have T1 here and T2 here, so if T1 is greater than T2, then Q is positive. As simple as that. Yeah. Why? Because let's say you are using the two noded elements. Yeah. So then you will have you have K T1 minus T2 over L. This is L from here to here. Yeah. This is what the Q will be. And this is positive. Means if heat is flowing left to right, you call it positive. Yeah. So basically you have to think like it has two meaning. Okay, so always you remember it has two meaning. Like in force, so what do? In case of force, you have only tensile force. So the sign convention you are asking, but you also be careful what you mean by flux there or force here. So in case of, let's say you are talking about a bar which has a tensile force. Yeah. So when you say sigma, right, then it has tensile is positive, right? You call it tensile is positive. Yeah. Okay. But when you talk about force, then positive in which direction? In positive x direction. Yeah. So like if you have one structure, let's say node 1, node 2, node 3. Okay, and let's say the forces applied. Let's say F2 is applied this way, and okay, and there is a force. Okay, let's not call F2, but rather let's go 5 Newton is going this way. Let's fix it like this, and here we have 3 Newton like this. Okay, so the force vector, what will you do? You will have some reaction force R1, you write R1, then you write 5, then you write -3, like this. This is how you are going to write. Okay, got it? Okay, now when you are going to write flux as a vector, it goes like this one. But when in the equation, right? So when you have K times T matrix, you have K times temperature matrix, and then there will be a force type of force or force vector, or you call it the heat source matrix and all, right? So this is similar to K times U equal to F. Then which all things come here will be positive from your sense. So your equation, look at the equation. If you have any confusion, always look at the equation. Equation, what does it say? It says K d square T dx square, right, plus S. It says S, x equal to 0, right? And then you take like the weak formulation will have W multiply here, so K d square T dx square plus S, right? And you have dx 0 to L, right? It goes like this one. And then what do you find? You find something like this. You have W, just look at that. You will have W, and then you will have K dt dx, and then you go from L to 0, and then you have minus. Then you have dw dx, K. Okay, so there may be some area A also, so write area here. So Ka d T dx, and then you also have Ws dx, right? So 0 to L, 0 to L equal to 0. So see here, this one, these and these are force, basically these are the force value. This becomes K times U, right? So basically we can say this and this give you the forces, this gives you K times U, that goes the other side. So a source is positive when it is coming to the system, right? So what you say, basically in this case, Q positive if coming to the, if heat gain or energy gain. Got it? It's the heat gain or energy gain. Is Q is positive. You can also see from here. From here, see here. This gives you WL, so you can write here WL KA. So there will be A as well here. Okay, KA, then dt over dx, L minus W0 KA dt over dx, x equal to 0, and then you have plus SW dx 0 to L equal to, you have 0 to L dw over dx KA dt over dx. So basically this means we are talking about, this is F vector is equal to K times U. So these all things are forces only, and you know that here positive value means S is the gain, right? This is the heat gain, which is positive because force is, this makes force positive. Here you can see here at the right hand side, this will be negative because this is leaving it. Why? Because you know that Q equal to minus K, right? So this is becomes minus WL. So Q, since Q equal to minus K dt over dx, and because of that, you can write this becomes minus, this becomes plus rather. So what you will see is going like this, minus WL, and then you have Q. You have Q times L. Yeah, Q at L plus W0 Q times 0. Okay, here will be A included. Okay, so whenever you write Q, we are actually talking about the, okay, you be careful with that, whether this is heat gain per unit time or heat gain per unit area per unit time. Okay, so when we are writing Q here, I'm referring to the heat gain per unit time per unit time only. So we multiply by area. So we already have Q there, so plus there will be, because of the source, so W then S dx, and here you will have K times T matrix. So what you see here is basically we get this one we get it as, so this one you can draw simply as this. This is what this is, and right, but this one you are writing as negative value, the positive value. So this and these are positive, this is positive value, so this is a positive thing, and this one you are writing as negative, see, minus Q, so this is the negative thing. So what do you see? Simply you see is heat gain is positive always. Okay, so this is your convention, heat gain is positive. So flux that gets heat into the system is positive. So if you have a problem like this, let us say, and you have node 1, 2, 3, yeah, and if you have point source, let us say, in which one is coming like this, let's call it Q2, yeah, and or some value, okay, say this is a heat gain of 5 watts means joule per second, and there will be heat loss. This is a heat gain. This is the heat loss, let's say 3 watts. Okay, so joule per second. So this is a heat loss. So your force vector, which will have all the flux, will be, let us say this is first one is reaction, second will be 5 watts, third will be -3, because there is a heat loss there. You got it?
Yes, sir. Sir, in same this 3 noded element, let us say in problem it is given at node 1 the value of temperature is 0. At node 2 nothing is given. At node 3 only it is given heat flux is 5, for example.
Okay, so let me draw it first. So the node 1 to node 3. So node 1 is what is given?
0 degree centigrade temperature.
T1 equal to 0. Okay, then
T2 is not given, T3 is not given.
Okay, so not given, T3 is not given. Okay.
At T3 heat flux is given, let us say 5 watt per meter square.
Okay, so okay, so the heat flux is,
direction is not given, only magnitude is given 5 watt per meter square.
No, direction you need. Okay, either you will have like this Q bar, something like this. Okay, when Q bar means that actually you are talking about Q, whatever Q is dot N. Yes, either you need to know whether it is the heat flux. The heat flux is what is the direction. If it is just 5 watt is given, that means it is going out. I mean, this is how the positive you write, but typically you write like this one, so this gives you Q bar. So you tell me the problem, which problem we are talking about. So because in your book you write Q bar equal to like this, then the meaning of Q bar,
I think example 5.1.
Yeah, right, sir.
Okay, okay, let me see. Okay,
That
example
is Q
5.
bar is 5.
Okay, so it is Q bar. Okay, so when you say Q bar, Q bar is 5. Okay, so when you say Q bar, that really means you're talking about the going outside. Means 5 watt is going outside. You know, Q bar thing always gives you outside, getting outside, loss. This tells you heat loss. Q bar gives you heat loss always. Okay, so you are talking about flux equal to this one is really means that actually going this way. Yeah, heat loss of 5 bar you are talking about. Yeah, then yeah, then you will write -5 there. So if you make force vector for corresponding to that, so you will have reaction R1, right? So you will have reaction here, which will be R1. Here you will have 0 unless you have a source as well. Okay, so you have the source already, right? I think in question 5.1 you have a source, so there will be a force coming from the source. Okay, but in any case, there were 2 types of forces, right? One because of the concentrated one, where the reaction will be one type of concentrated one. Here there is no concentrated, there is concentrated here. Here you will write R1, then 0, and then you will write -5 because this is going out of the system, heat loss. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Okay, and plus this is because of the concentrated. You write just FC. Okay, concentrated load. Second will be because of the body force or source. In that case, you will have F, as I said, FB1, FB2, FB3, right? Or you can say Q because of source, QS1, QS2, QS3, and this is because of the source, because of the S, because of this. Because of this, plus because of this. Yeah, this is for because of the distributed heat source.
Okay, sir. So in same problem, let us say heat is being generated inside a system.
Okay.
So in that case, we will take whatever heat that is going towards the node is positive. For example, let us say in these 3 elements, noded element, some
okay
heat is generated 5 watt per meter.
Okay.
So when we solve for element number 1, so the heat will move, which is moving towards the node is positive, and away from the node that will be negative.
Right. True. Yeah. So your heat source. Okay. So what I understand is what you are saying is, let us say for same example you are talking about, right? 3 noded, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you are saying S is equal to 5, right?
5 watt per meter.
Watts? No,
Per
it will be watts per meter. That's true. Okay, okay. Yeah. Then now repeat the question. I will explain. So you repeat the question. Then.
So let us say I want to estimate the heat flux which is moving towards the node.
Okay.
So
okay, man. When you are saying S, that means heat source, means it is coming to the system only. It is not going out of the system, right? S
so this will be always positive.
Always positive.
Okay, right, sir.
Yeah. This is being heat generated, right? So it is going to basically generate it. Yeah. So you can example, you can have it like something like some resistance or you have a heater, right? Water heater, like immersion rod, for example. Because of its resistance, current flows, it will heat, right? But this heat is coming to basically to the system because the temperature of this system is going to increase because of that. If there is a heat coming, then only temperature will rise, otherwise it will not rise, right? Heat loss means temperature will go down. Heat gain means temperature will increase, right? So this will always be positive, always positive. So then you will have, like as I said, the force vector will have 2 parts, right? So one will be because of the distributed load, or for this one, let's say call it Fs, and because of concentrated one. Concentrated one will it will, this comes from the boundary conditions, only boundary or at the nodes. If you are additionally, you are saying that in addition to the distributed body force, if you have concentrated load, for example, you can have a force here and here, as I explained earlier, or at the end there is a, you are saying that definitely there is the heat loss here, or Q bar is given, that means heat loss this much, then you will write in concentrated one. This part will be equal to Fs will be equal to what? You will have Fs1, Fs2, Fs3, and how you write? Fs1, as you know, will be equal to S, and then you will have N1, right? N1 and dx 0 to L. That's it. This gives you Fs1. You multiply by the first shape function and then integrate, you will get it. If it is 3-noded, right? I'm assuming this is 3-noded. Okay, and then Fs2 will be nothing but Sn2 dx 0 to L. And Fs3 will be equal to 0 to L Sn3 dx. And then you add both kinds, one coming from the concentrated one coming from the distributed load. You add them together, you get the force vector. So basically, I mean, force can, just think in this term, right? So if, let us say, you have a structure, I always use a structure because this is more physically, you can see that, you know. So if there is one structure which also has a self-weight, there is self-weight, that means this dx is there. It has self-weight, right? You don't apply any force, but still, because of its own weight also, there is a force applied. But at the end also, somebody may be hanging, right? Another force on top of that, maybe 10 Newton, like this. Yeah. So that means you can see in this case, total force vector in this case will be one coming from concentrated load. So let's say we have 3 nodes. Let's say we call 1, right? Like if we have like this one, then what happens? We can have concentrated load will be, there will be reaction force as well here, right? So let's call R1 here. So we will simply have R1, then 0, then 10, assuming this to be a positive. Yeah, we are assuming this way positive. Okay, so this will be F source or F body force, right? Okay, and sorry, this will be concentrated one. Okay, this is concentrated FC. Okay, now Fs or F body force will be, now if 3-noded, then you can work out you can use 3-noded N1, N2, N3. Finally, you will find out that if this is constant, let us say the B is equal to 5 Newton per meter. Let's call like this one. Then you will say, or let's call it not 5, but make it 6. Why? Because of some reason. Okay, so let's call 6 Newton per meter. You will see if you apply since this is a constant, right? This is constant. You will see 1/6 will go here, 1/6 will go here, and 4/6 will come here. So you will see like something like this: 1, 4, 1. You can see yourself actually. Yeah. So one of the example problems we solved, you must have seen that also. So this is how it divides. So this is how it divides, like this one. So total F will be equal to, you can R1 plus 1, then 4, then 11, right? It goes like this. Total force vector you have done. This is with the 3-noded element, only one element, but 3-noded. Yeah. If you have 2, then what it will do? It will do from here to here. You know that the half of that. Okay, so this we are assuming 1 meter. Okay, so 1 meter. That's why total come to be 6 only. Yeah, so we are assumed 1 meter. if you had used two noded element, means one element from here to here, then another here to here, then you will see it will get the 1/4 will go here, half will go here, 1/4 will go here. Yeah, so from here you know half of the weight, and half of the half will go here, half of the half will go here. Similarly, this is half of the weight. Half of the half go here, half of the half go here. So total here becomes 1/4 plus 1/4 equal to half. This becomes 1/4, 1 becomes 1/4. That means you get 1.5 here, 3 here, 1.5 here. If you had two noded element. If you have one 3 noded element, you get 1 here, 4 here, 1 here. If this is constant, remember, if this is constant like this, it will come automatically if you use N1, N2, N3. Is okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Any other question?
Sir, if the tapered bar
Yes, sir.
and have a 3 nodes, how can it solve, sir?
Okay. So it is tapered bar and 3
Tapered bar.
elements. Yeah, it's a
Tapered
taper.
bar.
Yeah, it's a tapered like this, right?
Okay.
Okay. Then
Have a 3 nodes.
yeah, it
Tapered
is
bar have a 3 nodes.
no 3 nodes, but what kind of element are you taking? Are you taking one? It can be solved by this. Either you can
One
have
element
one
in a single element.
3 noded element, or you can have two noded element. So you are talking about this.
One. Yes, sir.
Yeah. How to solve it? Okay. Okay. So first you tell me how do you, after going through my lecture videos, what do you think you should solve? What is the procedure you think you will
By
follow?
calculating the shape function, first of all.
Okay. So what is the shape function in this
N1,
case?
N2 and N3.
Okay. Yeah. Then after that, what will you do? So you are right. You get N1, N2, N3. Okay. So you will assume in this case, basically, if you have, let us say, L over 2L over 2 here, right? It goes like this one. And then you can have like first you have to do some transformation, right? Transformation, the N1, N2, N3, as you know, for any one, this becomes half, and then you get what? You get xi, and then xi minus 1. This is 1 minus xi square. You get half
1 by
xi plus 1. And this is when xi is equal to minus 1 here, xi equal to plus 1 here, and xi equal to 0 here. And you have to do transformation. What kind of transformation? So let us say in your case here, if x starts from here, so this x equal to 0 here, this is x equal to L over 2, here x equal to L. The transformation will be how? Transformation will be like this. You can see that. Either you can just interpolate, right? If x is equal to 0, and then you have L half L, and then your xi is equal to minus 1, and then you have 0, 1, right? So you can interpolate accordingly. So you know that you can also write like this: x equal to this and this over 2, so 0 plus L over 2 plus L minus 0 over 2 xi, right? So as we studied in the Gauss quadrature formula, same thing you can use here directly here also. So what you get is equal to L over 2, 1 plus xi. Right? You can see that if you put minus 1, you get 0, you put 0, you get L over 2, you put 1, you get L. So this is how the transformation is. Okay, so once you have that, next thing is finding out the Stiffness matrix. Since this is tapered, so then A is not a constant, right? So this A is a function of X. So let us say you give me some formula for AX.
That Just this is a 5.2 example like that.
5.2. So let me
Example.
see. Okay. So 5.2 here, AX is given.
2x.
Just a minute. The A is not given, man. There is A. Is he saying
A is 2x given, sir.
in 5.2?
Example, yes, sir.
The example, not problem.
Not problem, sir. Example.
Achha. So 5.2. Just a minute. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So A equal to 2x. Okay. A equal to 2x. Okay. Fine. So basically what you do here in this case, if given Ax equals to 2x, then first thing you have to do is to transfer this into, you have to write A as a function of x, which is function of xi now, right? So 2 times x, and x you know that is equal to, in terms of xi you have to write. And in terms of xi it is what? We got it here. This is x equal to L over 2, 1 plus xi. So we write 2 times L over 2, 1 plus xi, and you get your answer L 1 plus xi, right? So this is A as a function of xi, directly function of xi. A was function of x equal to 2x, and then x itself is a function of xi. So we wrote that one and we get this one, right? Now next is finding out the k1, k2, k3, all like k11, k12, like this one. And the equation is, I'm assuming E constant, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, E is constant. Okay, even if it's not constant, you can do the same kind of transformation and you can do it. So Kij will be equal to 0 to L, and then you know dni dxi, right? You can have dx, you have like this one, right? So dni dx, and then you have what? EA, and then you have d nj dx, right? This is what you have. Okay. Now we have to write in terms of xi, right? So we have to remember that we have to write in terms of xi. And how will we do? So we write from, we know when what is the transformation? Transformation is like this. Okay, so transformation is like this. So x equal to, then you have xi, half L over 2, and then 1 over xi. And then you know that dx equal to simply equal to L over 2 d xi. Yeah, so this we have to put there. Okay, and this also tells you that dx over t is equal to L over 2, right? So this also tells you. So let's go forward. You know that dx over d xi equal to L over 2. This gets from here, right? Dx over d xi equal to L over 2, right? Okay, now equation. So let's say Kij. So Kij is equal to, now our ni is already in xi basically, right? So we can write like this: 0 to L, not 0 to L, let's change it to xi now, right? Then we have d n I xi d xi multiplied by d xi over dx, right? Then we have E, then A is equal to L 1 plus xi only, right? This is what our A is, L times 1 plus xi, right? So A we have written, this is the area E is constant, so we wrote like this. This one is dni over dx, so I wrote d xi multiplied by d xi here, because n we have taken as a function of xi to begin with. Yeah, so we do it this one transformation. Similarly, we get here is equal to d dn, and then we have j xi and d xi multiplied by d xi over dx. Okay, and then what we have to write? We have dx, and we know dx equal to L over 2 d xi. So we write L over 2 d xi. Now see this, dx over d xi equal to L over 2, and that really means that d xi over dx will be equal to 2 over L, right? Okay, so that means we have to write like is equal to minus 1 to 1, and we write here d n I xi d xi times 2 over L square, because you get from both the here d xi over x equal 2 over L, this is a 2 over L square, and then you have multiplied by L over 2 here, so only one will survive. So let's write like this, simply like this, and then you have you will have E, then you will L, and have 1 over multiply xi, and dnj xi over d xi d xi. So this is how you can find out. This is a final expression. Everything is in terms of now xi. Now x is not there. Now you can integrate it nicely. Yeah. Here also you see here this a will cancel out. So you have 2 times e, and then you have that. So finally, a expression k ij will be equal to, in this case, e and l. L cancels out, and you have e to e. So you have 2e, and then have 0 minus 1 to 1 dn I d xi multiplied by 1 plus xi, and dn j d xi. So this is what you got. Yeah. So for example, if you have to find out k11, then you know that I equal to j equal to 1, and you also know that n1 equal to half xi minus 1 is equal to half xi square minus xi. Hence you get dn1 d xi is equal to half 2 xi minus 1, right? And hence you get what? You get xi minus half. Yeah, and this will be a square basically, right? So k11 you get, k11 is equal to minus 1 to 1, and then you have a square of this. So xi minus half square, okay, multiplied by 1 plus xi, multiplies by 1 plus xi. Yeah, done. You expand it, or you can use now Gauss elimination, the Gauss quadrature, and you can do it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So any confusion now? Everything all right? Yeah. This is how you have to do. Okay. So you have to change the.
Yes,
you have to take care of this one. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, I have doubt in question number problem 5.5.
5.5. Okay. Just hold
Sir,
on.
doubt is actually
The
element only one, which is 3 noded,
Hmm.
and from node 1 to 2, the area is changing, varying, but from 2 to 3, area is constant.
Okay.
Then while finding K13, then which area should I use? that varying area or that constant area?
Let me read first. K13 you are saying, right?
Yes.
Is this two three noded element? What is
Yes.
this?
Yes, sir. 3 noded element.
Okay. Okay. So just a minute. Okay. Let me read it. Okay. So consider an axial tension problem given in figure 5.21. The bar has a linearly varying cross-sectional area. Okay. In the region this, and a constant cross-sectional area A equal to 0.2 meter square in the region, the second region. The Young's modulus is constant. The bar is subjected to the point load. Okay, so point load is given at x equal to 0.75 meter, and a quadratically varying distributed loading B equal to x square is also given in the region this one. The bar is constant at x equal to 0 and is a traction free at x equal to 2 meter. Okay. Now use a single quadratic element with a center node at x equal to 1. Okay. Yeah. So you are saying how to find out K13, right?
Yes, sir, exactly.
Okay. So problem 5.5. So the problem looks like something like this one. So you have one tapered end, and then you have a constant end, goes like this. Okay. So, and you have a body force here, but the first one, you just have only one force, and that too in the middle somewhere, you have like this. Okay. And the body force is given is Bx is equal to x square. Yeah. Okay. And here sigma equal to 0 given. So only body force, and that means only two forces are acting. This is body force acting, and this is the force which is acting like this. Okay. Now the how to find out K11. So here three noded element. So three noded element. Okay. Now in general, when you say K Ij, when you say K13, that really means you have to work like this. It will be 0 to L, in this case 2, right? In this case, it's given 0, x equal to 1, x equal to 2. It's given like this. So it will be 0 to 2 in this case, and then it will be dn1 over dx. Then you will have E, which is constant. A is a function of x, right? So then ax, and then dn2 dx. You have to just integrate like this one. The thing is, in your case, these two domains are entirely different. So you have to, what you have to do is 0. You have to say 0 to 1, and then you will dn over dx, ea1, dn2 dx. Sorry, on 3, so you write 3 here like this, and 3. Okay, dx plus 1 to 2 dn1 dx and e. And in this case, let's say this is a1, we write a1 like this, and this is a2, which is constant, we write ea2, right? And then dn2 dx. Meaning that in order to integrate, since area differs, right? Hence you have to divide this into two parts. In one, you are going to integrate only for this one. The other part, you are going to integrate for this one. This is what you have to do. Yeah, got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
sir, same
okay.
step have to apply to find body forces also.
Yeah, everything. Yes, that's true. For body force also, you have to do the same thing. Yeah. So the meaning is, because of these, there may be some body force even coming here, because you are taking three noded, although this is not connected to this one, but still, since you are using N1, N2, N3, like N1, we are going to say N1 multiplied by this. So you will see N1 is non-zero. It will be 0 here and here, but non-zero here, right? So you will see there will be some value, maybe some negative value will appear here. Yeah, so you have to do the same way. Yeah. Remember that you in 3-noded, you don't have to always use like in terms of xi. In this case, you can see that it's easy to even have your own way of N1. And how will you do it? So let's say you have like this one. You have what? 1, you have 0, 1, 2. So you can have like this, N1 is equal to, and similarly you have x, right? So you can have x minus 1, right? You will have x minus 1, then x minus 2, right? Because the N1 will be 1 here and 0 here and here, and then you put 0 here. You will have 0 and 0, you get minus 1 multiplies minus 2, so 2 divided by 2, so your value is 2. So you can also write in terms of x directly, so that way you don't have to do minus 1 to 1, you can directly do 0 to 2, right? You can also work like this. So similarly N2 will be, in this case you can see that it will be x here will be x because it will be 0 here, so it goes like this, right? So x, so it will be x multiplied by x minus 2 and put x equal to 1, you get 1 here and minus 1 here, so you get a minus, so put minus 1 minus here. Similarly N3 will be equal to something like this, so it will be x and x minus 2 will be there, so x minus 1 will be there. This is the 0, right? Like this. Okay, now put 2. See, here you have 2, here 2 minus 1, so half. So you get half. So instead of using earlier in terms of xi, you can directly use n as a function of x directly, and that too you can do. And here, because you can do that also, you have to judge which one will be faster. Accordingly, you can convert that into xi. As you see that from x to xi, if you have to do for everything, right? Even for area, you have to do and shape function. The shape function is defined as dn over dx. So you have to put, if n is in terms of xi, then it should be differentiated in terms of xi first, and then you do d xi over dx. So all these things you have to do, right? A standard thing you have to do always. Here you don't have to do it, it's directly in terms of n, right? Then you can say in this case now kij equal to 0 to 2, and directly dn1 dx and eax and dn, here it is I, here it is j, and dx. Now no xi involved, directly you can use the a as a function of x and you can just work. Only thing is, since both the elements have different cross section, hence you have to divide into 2. You write 0 to 1, then plus 1 to 2, so that you have different domain, different variables, so you can take care of those. Yeah. Here I should also mention that if you see something like this, the force which is given is not at the node but somewhere else. Let's say this is from L given here to here, and your force is given here somewhere. Let's say this force is F0, and it is given at x equal, it's given at, let's say, a small l distance, like this one, a small l distance. Force is given. Now you have to find out what is the value. Obviously, there is no node here. Yeah, so this is node 1, node 2, no node here. In problem, you can refer to problem 5.5 also. Here also there is one force which is in the middle somewhere, applied in the middle. Then how to transfer that to node? You have to transfer that to node. You can take it as a body force then. Yeah, and you know that if you take this as a body force, then what happens? So you can do 0 to L. Let's say it's a two noded element, right? So what we will do, let's find out F1. right? FB1, let's call it. FB1, what do you say? N1 multiplied by body force, right? Okay, and what is the body force? This body force is at only one point, which is at, so typically you write like body force, right? Bx and dx, right? Like this one. You know that if this is a body force, this body force is active at only one point. So this body force is something like this. This is x and this is b body force. So it is suddenly it is 1, some value here. This is 0, this is 0. Suddenly here this is equal to some force F naught. So integration, if you do, will be simply equal to N1 at x equal to L multiplied by B at x equal to L, and B at x equal to L is what? Is F naught. So this is F naught. So simply this will be N1 at L. So N1 will be 1 minus L over L multiplied by F naught, will be the FB1. Similarly, FB2 will be 0 to L N2 Bx dx, right? And will be equal to simply N2 at x equal to L multiplied by F naught, and N2 value will be L over big L F naught. You can see that how, and this will be F naught only, but 1 minus L over L goes to here and L over L goes to here, means whichever the closer is, we get maximum share. You see here, if you make example, if L equal to big L, then what do you get? You get FB1 equal to 0, right? And FB2 equal to F naught, right? So right? This is what you have to do. Got it?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one last doubt, sir. I
Yeah,
have.
okay. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
In heat transfer problem,
Mhm.
the sum of heat flux due to that source S should be equal to that due to those end flux, boundary fluxes.
Will be equal to boundary fluxes. Why it should be like that?
Means like the sum of forces in elasticity problem is 0. That something, that kind of comparison.
Yeah, it will be similar thing here, but you should understand what you are talking about. So the total force will be 0. Yeah. Means here it is not like a force. Here it is like the energy coming to the system will be equal to energy going out of the system. This is true here. Got it? So you have to see, like you can see that whatever heat is coming has to go out. It's because it's steady. You are solving the steady state problem. Like in case of a structure, the forces in x direction has to be equal to 0. Means forces in positive x direction has to be equal to forces in negative x direction. Similar thing in case of heat transfer. Heat coming to the system has to be equal to heat going out of the system, and hence it is in equilibrium, and hence it is a steady state. Hence it will maintain the temperature. You follow?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, in problem 5.5,
Yeah.
if we see at node 2, the continuity of area is not there.
Yeah, okay.
Why, sir? I mean, if you see area is 0.2 meter square for a constant cross section.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it depends on the problem. The problem could be anything, right? There is no requirement that the area has to be matched. Let's say your problem is something like this, like this one, right? Then there is no requirement of area matching. Area does not have to be continuous.
But sir, in figure it is showing it is having the same cross section area.
No, so don't don't ask me this book was not written by me, man. Yeah, so yeah, so that but regardless of that, you know, so you always read the data, don't see the picture. Picture is just for for guidance only, for just you use for just for guidelines, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
See the data, that's the okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding the force in the global force matrix.
Okay.
Sir, whenever we have a concentrated force, then directly by seeing the figure or according to the given problem, we can directly write that in the global matrix following the sign convention.
Sure, correct.
So like if the force is in the positive x direction, we'll write at node 4, then we'll write the point load at node 4 as plus that force.
Sure, exactly.
And if it is in negative, then we'll write minus that force.
Yes. True.
Okay, sir. Okay.
True.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I want to confirm certain facts regarding the weight function. Like in the quiz, it was given that in our problem, the test function is not 0 at the initial points. So then also we took the weight function 0 at that particular point. So the same is applicable for the final points also. So it is fine. Like means this. I want to confirm this.
Yeah. True.
And
that's true.
Okay, sir. Okay, now in the next, in the homework too, there was another variant when we were given the derivative of the test function, which was 0 at a particular point. There we can't say that the weight function is 0 at that particular point. Means for the weight function, we will say it is 0 at those points where test function value is.
Right.
So can we put it like this?
Yeah. So where the test function is given, their weight function will be 0.
Yeah.
That's it. No other place. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, sir, this is applicable to any point in the range of the question which is given, not just to the initial and final point. We could be given any point in particular range of the question.
Yes, true. Correct. Yes.
Okay, sir. Yes. Okay. I just want to confirm.
Okay. Any other question, guys?
Sir, just to confirm, in 5.5, the concentrated force will get distributed over all the 3 nodes, right?
Yeah. The example that I showed you, I showed just for simple one, just 2-noded one. But in your case, this may get distributed to all the nodes. That's true. Yes, it will be.
Okay.
You can see that all the 3 ends will have some value, right? And hence you have to multiply, hence it will be distributed. Definitely it will get distributed. True.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any other question, guys? Okay, so I'm happy that you guys are actually solving these problems. The idea is if you solve these problems, you will know the complexity, you will know how to solve all those things, and that's the main thing, So solving is one thing that we cannot basically do in the class. I mean, we have to cover a lot of theory, and based on that, you have problems. Their problems are infinite number of problems. So how much you have gained and also how much you remember, all will depend on how much you basically solve this problem. So you will see the varieties of problems, and if you solve them, your fundamentals will be more clear and clear. So I request you to actually, as some of you have already shown that you have been working on all these things, and I'm very happy about it. Yeah. So don't think about exams and all. The main thing is what you do after you graduate. So these things sometimes you see that probably will not use it after you are done with this course and all. But sometimes you will be surprised at how much things change, and you never know. This will be basically you will be using for life also. So yeah, so that's why it's good to basically have learn something, and this is the time when you have to give you have time to give, later on, you be busy, especially after you start working, so this is one thing. Second thing is like we use some software to do it, so but you after solving this example problem, you will come to know that what is the limitations of those software, and unless you know what is going on in the software, it's dangerous also. Sometimes you think that you have done it correctly, but you will realize something went wrong and something like that. Yeah, so software is nothing but people like us, like you and me, who actually wrote the codes, so, and this is based on the existing literature. Yeah, so you have to know basically what is inside the black box. Yeah, so that way you will get more matured, you will know what exactly you have to do, and you can have, you will also realize that few things may not be in the software, and you can write your own code based on your own understanding. So hence it's important. Yeah. So, and if you have gone through all my lecture videos and you have solved these problems, then everything else is guaranteed. You will automatically get good marks. Yeah.
Sir,
yeah.
I have. It is with reference to mid-sem, sir.
Yeah.
Regarding accuracy of answers, like you want it should be accurate up to 3 digits.
Yeah.
So it give some relaxation, at least one.
Yeah, see, I mean, you have to try to be accurate till third decimal place, but I have also given 1% of error I have allowed, so if you see anywhere the answer is within 1%, you can tell me straight away, I will give you marks for that. The thing is, I use this software in Moodle only. All calculations are done. So I set the tolerance accordingly, it does, In some cases, what happens is 1% if I give, then there is some problem because the answer may vary from, in some question, for somebody answer will be 0.01, for somebody it will be 1,000. So accordingly, 1% of 0.01 is too little, so that way there is some problem that way. Hence, I have to fix it. I have to fix it to 0.01 only, absolute value.
Yes, sir, but because when we are doing calculation, we have to take 5 digits so that.
Yeah, so in that case, when you know that your answer is 100 and correct answer is 100, and you have given 100.5, for example, and still it is marking like you have not got any marks, then you just tell me, so then I will see and I will accordingly give it. Okay, so you have to help me with this, so this online thing is not for you only, so this is inconvenient to all of us, and together we have to beat it, whatever the situation is. So it is not that like I'm enjoying or you are enjoying. Nobody is enjoying this kind of thing. Nothing like teaching in the classroom where everything goes very well. And also in exam also we can give type of problems where we can give a step marking. Here it's not possible, so whatever we can, we have to do, and we try to incorporate all the step marking in this also. The step marking means the same problem I divide into like 10 questions, so for every step there is a question. Accordingly we get to evaluate it. Only thing is you have to be accurate, and being accurate is one of the things that all engineers should have, so think about like some of you working for NASA or even ISRO, and you are doing some calculation, you are sending something to Mars, it should not go to Venus, so jokes apart, like you have to be accurate, that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah. So that is all, guys. Okay, all the best. Just to remind you again that you have a mid-semester exam on coming Wednesday, 24th of March, starting 11 o'clock on Moodle. Okay, so please be on time there. Okay, see you later then. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.